Hello, and welcome to Book 4 of the Odyssey. Let's begin. So, Pisistratus and Telemachus arrive in Sparta, and as they do, we see Menelaus celebrating the upcoming weddings of his daughter Hermione's marriage to Achilles' son, and, let's get this name right, Megapenthes' marriage, Megapenthes being his bastard son, to an unnamed woman, because gender equality. She might be named, I don't actually know, but, you know, that's something you can read yourself if you really care that much. And then after this, after finding out this information, we see, oh god, here we go again, his servant, right-hand man, I don't know, Erroneous, okay, I got that name right, he's like, hey, boss, should we let these two guys in who have just randomly appeared in Sparta? Does it not look a little bit suspicious? Are you sure we should let them in? And Menelaus is like, good God, man, do you know nothing about Xenia? Of course we gotta let them in, otherwise Zeus is gonna kill us. God, Erroneous, you're a terrible Homeric citizen. I'm getting my words good today, guys. We're going well. And then Telemachus enters the palace after they're let in and is like, wow, this place is like just as extravagant as Zeus's. Your place is exactly like Zeus's palace. And Menelaus is like, nah, stop. It's not that great. Also, my brother's dead. And I'm very sad. Look at me cry. And then immediately after, Helen just bursts into the room, as she always does. And it's like, hey guys, remember I exist? Remember the war that I caused? Yeah, it me. And it's like, she looks over at Telemachus and is like, oh my god, is that Odysseus' son? He looks a lot like Odysseus. I think he's Odysseus' son. And Pisistratus is like, well, since you brought it up, yeah, that is him. Also, Menelaus, you know my dead brother Antilochus, did he die a glorious death? A glorious death? Because, like, my dad won't tell me. And I don't know if we ever find out the answer to that question. Again, we might do. Look it up if you really care. And so after, like, Telemachus is introduced to everyone, Helen straight up roofies everyone at the feast that they're having with a little happy drug that makes everyone stop crying. Because apparently she can't stand people crying so much that she drugs them to stop them crying. Good way to cheer people up, Helen. 10 out of 10. You did your best. And then they start, like, exchanging stories about Odysseus because that's a common theme in both Book 3 and Book 4. They're like, oh yeah, Odysseus, remember this one time he did this one thing? And so she talks about how Odysseus came into Troy disguised as a beggar and how, like, he magically appeared at her palace and, like, she helped him. She, like, gave him information to help with the Trojan War because, like, she's a little insider. And then Menelaus immediately comes into the conversation and is like, oh yeah, remember that one time when you, like, tricked the entire Greek army and worked completely against us by, like, posing as all of our wives and tried to, like, draw us out of the Trojan horse? Yeah, you know who saw past that trick? Odysseus did. And he stopped us from falling for your trick that almost killed us all. Ain't that funny, Helen? I like to completely sidebar off the conversation, telling Telemachus is like, okay, that's cool. But also there are suitors in my home, and I would much like to know where my dad is. Do you know any details as to where my dad might be? Menelaus is like, sure. But first listen to my story as to what happened to me after the Trojan War. Because I'm important now. And so he's like, okay, settle down, kids. Listen to my story. So I arrive in Egypt after I have been stranded for some reason. Don't know why. And this goddess named Idathea, don't correct me in the comments, I know I've got it wrong. She led me to a guy named Proteus, who is her father. And I had to, like, grapple him while he, like, kept changing forms. And once he stopped changing forms, he was like, what do you want? And I was like, give me information. And he was like, okay, Ajax is dead. Agamemnon is dead. But Odysseus, probably stranded somewhere. And That's all that happened. Also, I got told that the reason I got stranded is because I didn't sacrifice to Zeus. And Telemachus is like, okay, cool, thanks. That's all I needed to know. And then, like, they start negotiating gifts because Menelaus offers him some gifts, and Telemachus is immediately like, this is not gonna work on my terrain. These are useless in Ithaca. Let's figure out some other gifts, and they do. And while this is happening, the suitors are like, hey, we should kill Telemachus, and they're like plotting and stuff. And Medon overhears this, and he tells Penelope, who then tells Dolius to tell Laertes this, and she goes down to the suitors and is like, hey guys, that's fucked up. And then she goes back up to her room and cries. And then Athene goes down in the form of Penelope's sister, and it's like, hey, it's gonna be fine. Telemachus is gonna be okay. He's gonna come back alive, and you don't have to worry about his safety. And Penelope is like, oh, that's cool. What about Odysseus? And Athene is like, well, it's time for me to go. And she goes back up to Olympus. And that's the end of the book. See you in 2 weeks' time for book 5. Had to look at my script there. And next week for Aeneid, book 2. Goodbye.